Give you some detail that may put a human face on some of what's going on. The real story of what's happening here is still to be told. In Israel, Christiane Amanpour, CNN.
I was 20 years old when the revolution hit my country, and I saw gradually people who I'd grown up knowing and respecting executed, imprisoned. My own uncle died in prison. It was a moment of fear. For me personally, it was my open door to my adulthood and to my professional life. All of a sudden, one of the directors there said to me, "Hey, I know, there's this new thing called CNN, and we've even heard some English accents there." I phoned CNN. So they asked me about 10 questions on the phone, and I answered them all, including, of course, about the Iranian Revolution and the hostage crisis, which was the big news at the time. And they asked me, what's the capital of Iran? And I thought, well, I grew up there, I lived there. It's Tehran. So, I passed that test with flying colors. And when I got there to CNN, and this was in September of 1983, the recruiter, the head of HR, said, "Hey, you're foreign. There's a vacancy on the foreign desk. You go to the foreign desk." Well, I was thrilled. And really, that is the beginning and the end of my story, because that is where I started climbing from the very bottom of the rung of the ladder up to where I am today, which in my book is the top, because for me the top is being a foreign correspondent. And my first big story was the first Gulf War back in 1990, 1991, when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and then President H.W. Bush gathered a huge coalition, 500,000 forces, American and international forces in the desert, and stormed Kuwait to push back Saddam Hussein. And CNN burst onto the world stage at that time, and it just so happened to be the beginning of my career, so we sort of grew together. When I landed after the first Gulf War in the former Yugoslavia, that to me was my toughest experience. Being in a city under siege was terrifying. There was nowhere for us to escape as journalists. There was no hotel that was out of the danger zone. The entire city was the danger zone, and it was ringed by the aggressors on the hills, and we were down. So we were with the civilians. We were amongst those who were targeted. I had the confidence, I think, because of the way I was brought up, because I didn't thump my chest as some kind of "I am woman, hear me roar," because I did the work, because I had a very good relationship with my male colleagues, and because I proved that I could do it, because I did it. We returned to find out what's going on at the end of the day inside the square, and very menacing messages were directed our way. Don't go there, they said. Don't take your camera, or else you'll meet your destiny.
We won't.
An angry mob of pro-Mubarak supporters quickly surrounded us.
We had American, we had any country more. Okay, go to any place more.
You want us to go?
Yes, I want you go to from here.
Why?
Because we are hate you. We hate American.
You hate us?
Yes, I hate you and I hate you.
Why do you hate us?
You are not good person. Go to any place more, please. Go to any place more. You are not with us.
Okay.
You are not with us. Okay.
They kicked in the car doors and broke our windshields as we drove off.
We left that angry crowd and got into our car. They forced us into our car. And as we started to drive off, they hit the car with their fists over and over again and threw a rock through the front window. The glass is shattered all over our driver. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? Waggy?
No.
Did they hit you? I can barely contain myself at this point. How many more times do we have to say that weapons of mass destruction were used? And as bad as it is to decapitate somebody, it is by no means equal. We can't use this false moral equivalence about what's going on right now. They tried to do it in the Second World War, they tried to do it in Bosnia, they tried to do it in Rwanda, and they're trying to do it now. There is no moral equivalence. And the president, wait just a second. The president, excuse me, the president of the United States and the most moral country in the world, based on the most moral principles in the world, at least that's the fundamental principle that the United States rests on, cannot allow this to go unchecked. Cannot allow this to go unchecked. And I'll tell you what, President Clinton, 15, 16 years later, is still apologizing for Rwanda. I just spoke to Lanny Davis, who was once his ally and his. I'm so emotional about this.
Yes, exactly.
No.
And you're right to be.
And I'm right
but
to
that
be.
is not the,
I am
that is
right
not
to
the
be.
state of mind to be
I am
thinking
right
about
to be.
strategy
Excuse
and
me.
politics.
I am going to finish. No, I'm going to finish.
Okay.
I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish.
Well, this is
when
not
we
reason. This is
turn
emotion.
our eyes,
Pure
it's
emotion.
not emotion. This is history coming out. We have turned our eyes away from some of the most terrible crimes, and that is not in America's national interest.
It is.
It isn't,
It has to
Andrew.
be.
There's no magic bullet, there's no magic solution. It's about hard work, it's about dreams, it's about ambition, but it's about goals, it's about teamwork, and it's about having a sense of mission, having a sense of where you want to be and what you want to do with your life and how you want to fit into this world and be value added, not just take, but how you give back. And I really, to this day, believe that starting at the very bottom is the most important thing that you can do. It's the most important piece of advice that I could give anybody who wants to go into this profession, because you don't ever become an overnight success. And I just want people to take this job seriously and not think that, oh, it's television, you know, it's television, it's not brain surgery, it's not rocket science, anybody can do it. I don't believe that. I believe it's television, it's important, it's journalism. You know, words have consequences. The stories we decide to do, the stories we decide not to do, it all matters.